Hello everybody, this is another Hot Wheels collector video, and today I've got another reaction and showcase video for you guys. This is the 2024 Hot Wheels M case. There are tons of great cars in here, there's tons of new stuff, and overall I can't wait to show you guys what features in this case. But before we go any further, I must shout out Ministry of Diecast as well as Marsley Marzuki for the following footage. Without these two guys this video would not be possible at all, so make sure to check out their original videos. Those videos will be linked in the description, and make sure to subscribe to their channels as well. But anyways, that is it for the intro of this video, so now let's jump straight into this reaction and showcase. Firstly, let's take a look at everything new for this case. So the first new car for this case is this, the Piranha Terror. This thing does receive side and front temple work, and this thing has mainly been created by pink plastic. This thing is also rolling on the 6-spoke Rear style wheels, which have been painted in chrome, and these wheels have been created by blue plastic. Overall, this one's not really for me. Next up, we have the 57 Chevy. If I'm honest, I'm not a big fan of the temple work on this thing, but other than that, I really do like it. This thing does receive side and top temple work. It has been painted in this very interesting light green colour, and this thing is rolling on the 5-spoke wheels, which have been done in black with a white lip to them, and these wheels also do receive white walls to them. Overall, it's a pretty cool looking car other than the temple work. Next up, we have the treasure hunt for this case. This is the Hot Wheels Ford Transit Connect. This thing does receive side and top temple work. It has been painted in white, and this thing is rolling on the fan 5-spoke wheels, which have been painted in chrome purple. If I'm totally honest, this one's not really for me. I'm just not a big fan of the design of this thing, but yeah, it is the treasure hunt for this case, and I will be leaving it for somebody else who likes this car a bit more than myself. I don't personally buy every single treasure hunts. I only buy treasure hunts which I do like, and this one's not really one of them which I do like. But yeah, I will be leaving it for somebody else who likes it a bit more. Next up, we have an absolutely beautiful release of the 73 Honda Civic Custom. I absolutely love this car. This thing has been painted in this beautiful blue colour. I love the colour on this thing. It does receive side and top temple work, and this thing is rolling on the Super Advan 3-spoke wheels, which have been painted in white. I love everything about this thing, from the colour to the temple work and the colour scheme. It's just absolutely stunning. I can't wait to add this to my collection. Next up, we have a brand new casting for this case, the first new casting for this case. This is the Revenger ST, and this is kind of like a fantasy muscle car. I actually really do like this thing. This thing does receive side and top temple work. It has been created by this very bright and luminous orange plastic, and this thing is rolling on the 5-spoke muscle style wheels, which have been done in black with a chrome bronze lip to them. As I've said previously, I really do like this thing. I think the Hot Wheels team have done a great job. Next up, we have a great release of the Ford Performance Supervan 4. This is a brand new casting for this year, 2024, and this is the second colour of this thing to come out. It's a pretty good release. This thing does receive side and rear temple work. It has been painted in this blue colour, and this thing is rolling on the L4 style wheels, which have been painted in white. I know a lot of people love them wheels, and I do too. They look very, very good. Overall, this is a pretty cool release of this casting. I'll probably be adding this to my collection. Next up, we have the Diora 3. This thing is not really for me, if I'm totally honest. It has been painted in white and does receive only side temple work from what I can tell, and this thing is rolling on the 5-spoke muscle style wheels, which have been painted in chrome. Personally, I will be passing this thing up. I think the Diora 2 casting is much better looking, but yeah, overall it's not terrible, it's just not really for me. Next up, we have the 49 Drag Mercury, or the 49 Drag Merc as the card says, but yes, it is a Mercury. This thing does receive side temple work, as you can see here. It does not receive any paint at all. It has a raw metal finish to it, just like a Zamac. That is really, really cool. Even though this is not a Zamac, you can find it worldwide, unlike Zamacs, which are Walmart exclusives in America. But yeah, this thing looks very, very cool. It does have the same finish to it as a Zamac, and this thing is rolling on the 5-spoke wheels, which have been painted painted in chrome. I personally really do like this release of this casting. Next up, we have the 92 Dodge Viper RT10. This was a brand new retool, or technically a new casting, but it was a retool for last year. And this is the second ever colour of this retool, and I think this thing looks really good. It does receive side and top temple work. It has been painted in this yellowish orange colour, and this thing is rolling on the Super Advan 3-spoke wheels, which have been painted in grey. A great release of this casting. Next up, we have the June Daddy. I actually quite like this casting. I think it looks very well done and very well detailed. This thing does receive top temple work. It has been painted in this very interesting green colour, and this thing is rolling on the off-road style beadlock wheels, which have been moulded in this dark brown coloured plastic, obviously resembling mud, and these wheels have been painted in white. A pretty cool release of this casting. Next up, we have the Batman and Robin Batmobile. This thing has been painted in a very interesting blue colour, and this thing does receive side and top temple work. This car is also rolling on the Aerodisc wheels, which have been painted in chrome. Overall, this one's not really for me. I don't collect Batman cars, but it's still a pretty cool looking car. I quite like the colour on this thing. Next up, we have the Hot Wheels High. This one's not really for me. It's kind of a cool casting, but I don't personally collect fantasies. This thing does receive side temple work. It has been created by this very bright and luminous orange plastic, and this thing is rolling on the Aerodisc style wheels, which have been painted in chrome. Overall, it's not a bad release of this casting. It's just not really for me, and I won't be adding it to my collection personally. Next up, we have a brand new casting for this case, and this is a fantastic casting. This is the Toyota GR86 Cup, and this thing is just beautiful. This thing does receive side and top temple work. It has been painted in blue, and this thing is rolling on the 5-spoke Y design wheels, which have been painted in grey. This casting is so great, I can't wait to see where it pops up next. I'm not a massive fan of this specific release, but it's great to see the Hot Wheels team creating this casting. As I've said, I can't wait to see what this thing looks like in its future releases. I think it will look fantastic. Next up, we do have the Nissan Skyline 2000 GTR Liberty Walk tuned. This is a really cool casting as well. I know this thing will be very popular. It does receive side and front temple work. It has been painted in this light blue colour, and this thing is rolling on the Super Advan 3-spoke wheels, which have been painted in black. Overall, this is a great casting. It looks very cute, and it just looks super cool. Very well done by the Hot Wheels team. Next up, we have the Vespa 90 SS Super Sprint from 1966. This thing does receive side and front temple work. It has been painted in this blue colour, which is very interesting. It's a dark blue colour. I've never seen that colour used by the Hot Wheels team in the past. Very interesting colour there indeed. And this thing is rolling on the motorcycle 4-spoke wheels, which do look pretty cool and have been done in black with a chrome lip to them. This one's not really for me. I don't personally collect Hot Wheels motorbikes. And next up, we have the 91 GMC Cyclone, a very cool and popular casting. This thing does receive side and rear temple work. It has been painted in white, and this thing is rolling on the Phil Reelman wheels, which have been painted in white. Overall, this is a pretty good release of this casting. I don't currently have this casting in my collection yet, so I can't wait to add this release into my collection. Looks really good. Next up, we have the Quick Bite. This is a pretty cool release of this casting. I personally really do like it. This thing does receive side temple work only. This thing has been created by white plastic, at least the body has, and this thing is rolling on mismatched wheels. In the front and in the rear, they are both Aerodiscs, but in the rear, they are white, whilst in the front, they are black. I really do like the design of this thing. I think it looks very good. Next up, we have the Cadillac Project GTP Hypercar. This thing has been painted in a very interesting blue colour, which does look very unique. This thing does receive side and top temple work, and this thing is rolling on the Y Design 10-spoke wheels, which have been painted in chrome gold. Overall, I do prefer the original matte black version of this casting from earlier this year. This is a brand new casting for this year, but yeah, I do prefer the original black version, but this thing doesn't look too bad. Next up, we have another brand new casting for this year, but this is the second colour of this thing. This is the Hyro Hatter Merc. This thing does receive side and front temple work. This thing has been painted in this very unusual greenish yellow colour. Super interesting colour there. I'm not sure if I like it or if I don't like it. Very strange colour, and this thing is rolling on the 5-spoke wheels, which have been done in black with a white lip to them, and these wheels also do receive white walls to them. Overall, I don't think this is a bad release of this casting at all. And next up we have the 67 Ford GT40 Mark IV. This is a pretty cool release of this casting. It does receive side and top temple work. It has been painted in this very interesting, very dark green colour, and this thing is rolling on the Phil Riemann style wheels, which have been done in black with a chrome blue lip to them. I think this is a pretty good release of this casting. Next up we have the 99 Ford F-150 Lightning. This is a great casting and this release is absolutely great as well. This thing does receive side and front temple work. It has been painted in this greyish silver colour, very nice colour there indeed, and this thing is rolling on what appear to be the 5-spoke muscle style wheels, which have been done in black with a chrome red lip to them. What a great release of this casting. Next up we have a brand new casting for this case. This is the Sushi Tuner. This thing does receive side temple work. It has been created by a mixture of white painted metal and semi-transparent red tinted plastic there, as you can see there. Very interesting new casting. This thing is rolling on the 5-spoke muscle style wheels, which have been painted in chrome. Very unique casting. I quite like it though. I really do like the colour scheme here. Next up we have the Max Steel. This is a pretty cool one. It does receive side and top temple work. It has been painted in dark green, and this thing is rolling on the 5-spoke wheels, which have been done in black with a white lip painted onto them, and these wheels also do receive white walls, which I really do like the look of. Overall, this is a pretty good release of this casting. Next up we have the 23 Ram 1500. I love this colour of this casting. This is a brand new casting for this year, and this is the second colour version of this thing, and I think it looks just as good as the original red version. This thing does receive side and front temple work. It has been painted in blue, and this thing is rolling on the off-road beadlock style wheels, which have been done in chrome. Next up we have the 16 Bugatti Chiron. This is a very popular one. I know a lot of people love this thing and I do too. It looks so good. This thing has been painted in reds. It does receive side and front temple work. Wow, looks great. And this thing is rolling on the 10-spoke wheels, which have been done completely in black. What a great release of this casting. I can't wait to add this to my collection. Next up we have the 68 Dodge Dart. This thing does receive side and top temple work. It has been painted in this very nice red colour and is rolling on the 5-spoke muscle style wheels, which have been painted in chrome. I love this release of this casting. I love the red on this thing. Overall, I think it's just fantastic. Next up we have the Surfin School Bus. This thing does receive side temple work. It has been created by a mixture of red plastic and also some metal, which has been painted in this yellowish orange colour. And this thing is rolling on the Steely style wheels, which have been done in black with a yellow lip painted onto them. This one's not really for me, if I'm totally honest. Next up we have the regular version of the Super Treasure Hunt for this case. This is the 96 Nissan 180 SX Type X. This thing is a very popular casting amongst collectors and I really do like it as well. This thing does receive side and rear temple work. It has been painted in blue, and this thing is rolling on the lace style wheels, which have been painted in white. I think this is a really nice release of this casting. I can't wait to get my hands on this thing. It would be even greater if I could find the Super Treasure Hunt, but I can't see that happening. Next up we have the Rapid Pulse. This thing does receive side temple work, as you can see here. It has been created by this red coloured plastic because this thing does have a metal base to it and a plastic body, and this thing is rolling on the Aerodisc wheels, which have been painted in chrome. I think this is a pretty solid release of this casting, even though I won't be adding it to my personal collection. Next up, we have the Corvette Stingray. This is a great release of this casting in my opinion. I love the blue on this thing. This thing does have a blue plastic body to it and a metal base to it. This thing does receive side and top tamper work, and this thing is rolling on the 5-slot retro style wheels, which have been painted in chrome. What a great release of this casting. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Next, let's take a look at everything returning from the previous case to this case. This gives you a second chance to find all of the following cars. So the first car returning from the previous case to this case is this, the Diora 2. This thing is really cool. I like the casting and I like this specific recolor as well. I think it looks very, very good. And next up we have the Mazda RX-7. If I'm totally honest, I'm not usually a big fan of cars with a police livery on from Hot Wheels, but I really do like this one. Next up we have the 94 Audi Avant RS2. I love everything about this thing, from the colour to the tamper work. This thing just looks so clean, and I can't wait to add this to my collection. Next up we have the Pagani Utopia. This was a brand new casting from the previous case, and I think this thing looks very, very good. I can't wait to add this to my collection. Next up we have the Pterodactyl. This thing isn't really for me, but I do like the tamper work on this thing. Next up we have the 92 BMW M3. This is a great release of a great casting. I really do like this thing. Next up we have the 77 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. This did have a Super Treasure Hunt version from the previous case, and this thing just looks so cool, very mean looking, and it just looks so well done. Next up we have the Flippin' Fast. If I'm totally honest, this one's not really for me. Next up we do have the Boom Car. This is another one which isn't really for me at all. Next up we have the 67 Lotus Type 49. This was a brand new casting for the previous case, and this thing just looks so cool. I can't wait to add it to my collection. It's completely made out of metal. Next up we do have the Trouble Decker. I quite like the colour scheme here, but it's not really for me. Next up we have the 70 Dodge Charger RT. I'm not a big fan of the tamper work on this thing, and hence I will not be adding it to my collection. Next up we have the 15 Jaguar F-Type Project 7. This thing looks very, very good. I really do like the dark red colour on this thing. I think it looks really, really cool. Next up we have the 20 Toyota Tacoma. This thing has loads of tamper work on it, and for that reason alone I will be adding it to my collection. I think it looks very cool and very good. Next up we have the 5 Alarm. This one's not really for me at all. Next up we have the Formula E Gen 3. This is a really cool casting, it is licensed, and overall I really do like the look of this thing. I'm a big fan of the tamper work on it. I think it looks really, really good. Next up we have the Limited Grip. I actually really do like this release of this casting. I think it looks super cool. I like the colour on it. I like the tamper work, and overall I think it's just really, really good. I just love this casting. Next up we have the Chevy Silverado. This thing's pretty cool, this casting is very unique, and overall I will be adding this to my collection. I think it looks good. Next up we have the Volkswagen ID Buzz. I quite like the colours here. I do prefer the original yellow version, but this one's still pretty good. Next up we have the 22 Ford Maverick Custom. This was a brand new casting for the previous case, and I think this is a great way to start off this casting's life. I really like the look of this thing. I think it looks great. Next up we have the Mustang Funny Car. This thing isn't really for me if I'm totally honest. I'm not a big fan of anything about this thing. And the final car returning from the previous case to this case is the Ducati Desert X. I really do like the colour scheme on this thing, but I don't collect motorbikes, and hence I won't be adding this to my collection. There you go, that is it for the 2024 M case. Overall, it's a great case in my opinion. There's loads of new stuff here, and overall I'm very, very impressed. I genuinely think there is pretty much something here for everyone. There's just a great selection in general. But that does lead me onto my rankings, so what are my third, second and first place car for this case. So, in third place for me is going to be the tuned Nissan Skyline 2000 GTR Liberty Walk. I think it's a really cool, unique casting, and I really can't wait to add that to my collection. I think it's going to be very popular amongst collectors, and I think it will deserve its hype. And that does lead me onto my second place car. So in second place for me is going to be the 16 Bugatti Chiron. I love the red colour on this thing, and overall I think it's a great release of this casting. It's a new casting for my collection, and I can't wait to add it wow, I think it just looks stunning. And that does lead me onto my first place car for this case. So in first place for me is going to be the 73 Honda Civic Custom. This thing is absolutely beautiful in my opinion. I love the colour scheme here, I love the colour, I love the tamper work, I love the wheel choice. I just think it's absolutely stunning and I can't wait to add it to my collection. It just looks great in my opinion. What a great release of that casting. But do you agree with my ranking? Let me know in the comments section down below. I will be reading all of your comments and I love hearing what you guys think of this case and what you guys think are the best cars from this case as well. But that does lead me onto my score out of 10 for this case. What am I going to give this case out of 10? In my opinion, this is a 10 out of 10 case. What a great selection of cars. I'm not disappointed at all. We've got new castings, we've got great recolors, we've just got everything here. It's just so great. What a great selection of cars from the Hot Wheels team. But that is it for this video, so if you guys did enjoy, make sure to like. If you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I hope you guys did enjoy this video and thank you for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, that's it for this video, so see you guys in the next one. Bye bye everyone, take care.